Hi everyone, hope you're having a great day. My name's Chris here from Lesson Jigsaw. Today we're just going to have a quick chat about ideas and things that you can do if you're not already doing, or maybe you're already doing, to practice English. You're learning English, and you need some ways to practice English. Some of these may be very obvious and you do anyway, and maybe some things that you're not currently doing. So let's have a look, shall we? And I guess the obvious question that you always ask yourself first is, why am I learning English? So why would you be learning English? So maybe it's because you want to travel. Maybe it's just you want to keep the brain ticking and keep thinking. Maybe you want to chat with different people from around the world. Maybe it's because of work. You want a promotion, or you just have to interact with different people from different countries. So there could be some reasons, and there could be many, many other reasons, of course, why you're learning English. And I guess the other thing then you need to consider is, how much time do I have? Um, and and I guess we always think, oh, well, I'm busy with 8, 10, 12 hours of work or study, or at home looking after the kids, or just doing different things and pieces in life. And I guess the thing is, how can we find time? And I guess at the end of the day, we have to try and to make time in a way. We have to allocate some time for ourselves to practice, and maybe some of these things can help you with that. I always think it's the same as when people go, "Oh, what's the best way to learn English?" And that sort of thing. What's the right method for learning English? And I really think, and this is if it's for English or any other language or anything really, if it's learning about computers, how to program, how to code, if you want to learn how to fly, if you want to learn how to paint, if you're just whatever sort of thing you might want to learn, if you're doing something that you like in a way that you like, that's the best way for you. And there can be more than one way, and so all of them can be the best. If it's something that's encouraging you and motivating you, um, that's the main thing. The worst thing you can have, I think, is if you're doing something because you have to do it, you don't want to do it, and the way that it's done is also not enjoyable for you. So if you're able to find a way to like something, and I understand maybe sometimes when people are working, they find it difficult, and they're forced into English classes and that sort of thing, and the same thing for university. Sometimes they're forced into English classes, and it's very difficult. So it's hard to find that sort of that motivation. But if you can find particularly a way that you like to learn and study, with different sorts of activities, with different sorts of people or particular people, people with the same sort of mindset as you, people who are motivating for you, encourage you, don't make you feel silly or awkward. I always think, it's with anything learning, people worry about mistakes, and that's a bit of a problem for me, because I think mistakes are great. Mistakes mean A, that you're practicing, and B, it's an opportunity then to progress. The one thing is, are you actually communicating your message? And if that's happening, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. The only problem is if you're not communicating, or for example, if you're saying the opposite of what you mean to say, or that's what's being understood. And that's where practicing is really the key. We have lots of input, we need to have output. So some suggestions, and as I say, maybe you're doing some of these, all of these already, and if you are, fantastic. If you're not, maybe these could spur you into some action, perhaps. And I guess one of the fun things to do is play games. Here we've got lots of different board games, but the idea is it can be a game for English. And if you've been in English classes with English teachers, I'm sure you've had the games where you're rolling the dice and you have to, I don't know, say a question in the present perfect, or or say a sentence with a particular verb or noun or something like that. And that's okay, absolutely. But also what you can do is just play normal games that you would play, but play them in English. So say, for example, we have Scrabble here or other sorts of word games. Instead of playing the version in your language, play the English version. Maybe it's a game of something like chess or checkers or something like that. Play with an opponent, and when you're having a chat, obviously if the game's not too serious, have a chat and have that in English. So it's a way of, I guess, being relaxed while you're communicating. It's an avenue to help that. And we've got the phone, or the picture of the phone there, and of course there are many apps that you can download these days for practicing English, more formal apps, other apps where it's more just literally games and that sort of thing. And if you search Learn English in any of the stores to download apps, I'm sure you'll find a wide variety. And it's a case of, again, looking through the different apps and just finding the one that you think is the most fun for you, encouraging for you. Maybe there are ones where you only get a certain amount of lives and then you have to wait for a certain amount of time, or you have to buy tokens and stuff. Maybe that's not as enjoyable. Maybe it's just something where you can just play against the computer and there's no sort of time limit. If you're traveling to work or to a friend's house or something, you can just play it on the train or the bus or wherever. Stuff like that, where you can find those little bits of time in between what you're doing the rest of the day, that can be very useful and a good way to practice English. Another way that I think is really good, and I get a lot of my students to do things like this, is plan a holiday, or think about planning a holiday. So imagine you're traveling to, I don't know, the United States of America, for example, or going over to England, and maybe you want to stay in a hotel or a bed and breakfast type place or a motel or whatever. So what you can do is you can look on the website for the accommodation first, find out details about where they are, what the different rooms are like, different sorts of facilities that they have, and then prepare some questions that you could ask them. And what you can do is, not all of them, but a lot of the accommodation places have free phone numbers. So you can call a free phone number in your country and make reservations or ask questions. So I'm not saying necessarily to make a reservation, but unless you want to. But what you can do is look for the information, ask the questions to the person on the reservations or customer service hotline. I'll just have a drink. And listen for their answers. You already know the answers because you've checked it up on their website. So you can see or test your listening skills for that, and then also check perhaps if they give you a different answer, maybe the information is different to what's on the website, could just be that, or the way the question came across to that person was different to what you intended. And then that can be something then for you to practice and check what the question was, and then try and repeat it or rephrase it, something along those lines. And you can do similar things then with places like airlines, tourist attractions, museums, information centers, all those sorts of things. If you're too shy initially to speak to someone, bearing in mind they don't know who you are, so you're just speaking to someone and they're speaking to maybe tens or hundreds of people each day, so you're just fitting into the queue. So I would say there's no real reason to be shy, and that's just part of their job. And maybe you are interested later. You think, oh, they were nice people, or that sounds good. Maybe I'll travel there one day, or I'll stay at that hotel, or whatever. But you can also write to them, of course. So get their email address and write to them with your questions or ideas and that sort of thing. And again, that can be quite a real and authentic way to practice. Also, other things you can do is to, and I'm sure many people do this already, is listen to podcasts or recordings. And now this is not just a podcast for learning English. I'm just talking about if you're interested in, I don't know, trains, or if you're interested in different sports or fitness, or you're really into food and restaurants or cooking or whatever the case may be. There are lots and lots of podcasts that you can listen to with people speaking English, so in English, of course. And so listen to those. You can obviously see the different lengths. And again, while you're traveling or at home, when it's nice and quiet, you can listen to them, little bits or the whole podcast, take notes, re-listen, check the details, do some research, check again. I really think that can be a good thing, because if you're enjoying that particular topic, that will be something that keeps you listening for that. Now, the difference is that that's only receiving. So what you can also then do is, some of these podcasts, they have blogs attached to them, or they're on other places where you can then converse. So then what you can do to take it a step further is to comment. So write your opinion or thoughts or experience about whatever the subject is of the podcast. And same thing, like for going to watch a movie, or going to see a live band or a theatre performance or something like that. What you can do is go to the production or movie or whatever it is in English, so listening to the English version if that's available. But then also you can follow it up by writing a review. Maybe you've got a Facebook page, you can write what you think about it on Facebook, or just chat with your friends, like in a messaging application. Maybe there's a forum where you can write what you think. And that's another way that you can get some input, but then also give some output, giving your opinion and thoughts to other people. And remember, that's the main thing that really we should try and focus on. Yes, receive lots, so read and listen, but we want to try and write and to speak as well as a follow-up whenever we can. Other things you can do, and again, this is mainly input, you can get a dictionary, open it up each day on a page, look for a word, and try and use that word throughout the day. Maybe, and the best thing is, we want to try and write sentences. So it's got word of the day there, but also what's really handy is if you can get like a chunk. So look at, normally in dictionaries, they give you some examples. So look at the words around it. Maybe it's quite often connected with other words or different sorts of prepositions or whatever it may be. And then you can try and use those combinations of words forming sentences throughout the day. And then similarly, when you're reading different books or magazines and that sort of thing, You can look for particular words and add them to your own personal dictionary with the aim of using them. It's good to keep a log of words that are important or useful for you, but there's no real value if you're not using it. And by using it is, like I said, you need to write, you need to speak with people trying to use those words. That's not to say you got a list of 50 words and trying to have all 50 words in in like 5 minutes and just put them in just to put them in. You'd want like a normal context to put them in. So that's the best thing. And it's sort of like when maybe sometimes you're in class and you need to practice a particular grammatical structure. And of course, the thing in English is normally we're mixing not all, but almost all of the grammatical structures. So let's say the top 4 or 5 we're using very regularly, and we're chopping and changing between them a lot in whatever different stories and how we're speaking and what we're talking about, and changing between different conversations. So I would suggest trying to combine whatever words you pick up as much as possible in whatever communications you have. If you're writing a diary, trying to add them in there in sentences, not sort of point form and that sort of thing, not just a list. We want to use them in sentences and as much real life as possible. Like we were saying before, maybe you've got some type of hobbies or foods. So here, for example, what you could do is maybe you're into food as a hobby. And so maybe you can go to a restaurant, but even if you're not in an English-speaking country, see if you can get the English menu. They're not always 100% and not perfect. Sometimes things are written wrong, but we can only use what's available. So you can use the English menu and try to order in English. And then if you're there with other people, have a conversation in English, talking about the food, the restaurant, and life in English. Maybe you're at home and you're preparing a meal, so you can look for a recipe in English, trying to go to the supermarket, buying the ingredients from the ingredients list in English. So there, if you're there with a friend or whatever, see if you can have a conversation talking about which one you need to get, what sizes, if there's a particular quality, if you're buying fruit and vegetables, how to check if it's a good one or not, to purchase if it's ripe or not ripe, and that sort of thing. So then you're at home cooking, and then you're following the instructions for the recipe, and then maybe you've got some music in the background where the music is in English. So what you're, I guess, trying to do here is to immerse yourself as much as possible, particularly if you're not in an English-speaking country. And that's just a suggestion. So things like that you could do. And also, there are lots of courses and classes that may be available. Obviously, I don't know about every country, but there may be opportunities to have a look anyway, to see if there are, to attend classes. Now, I don't just mean English language classes as such. I mean, like we saw before, maybe you're interested in cooking, or maybe in photography or painting, or whatever the case may be. Go to those classes and see if there's a class available for English language speakers. And then you can attend that class, and sometimes it will be quite difficult and it'll be hard to understand, but that's part of the process of learning. And hopefully that will be closer to a natural experience as well. So you're doing something you enjoy, a hobby or an interest that you like, and you're also getting some English input, and then you're also I would imagine you're speaking with other people or sharing your ideas or thoughts. And so then you've got ways to give output, give production of English. You're using the language. And similarly, even simple things like on your phone, you can change the settings so everything's in English. The language of your phone is in English. Like I say, a very simple thing to do, but even if you only do it for one day a week, so learn where the setting is and what the way to change it back and forth if you need to in a hurry. But changing the setting maybe just for half a day or one day or for a weekend, and then seeing gradually if you can make it longer and longer and longer. And then the words that come up and the notifications that you may receive become second nature. So then you're used to them. And again, that could be a good way to practice English. And finally, perhaps another way that you can is to join us here on Lesson Jigsaw. Join one of our live streams, one of our chats. Come and have a conversation. So the main idea is to practice speaking, practice conversations. It may develop into other things as well, but certainly to participate, send us an email, chat on lessonjigsaw@gmail.com. That's chat on lessonjigsaw@gmail.com. Send us an email, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what time zone you're in, and what you're interested in learning and practicing with English. And then hopefully we can see you, and that's another avenue to practice English. And like I said at the outset, hopefully if you can find different activities that you enjoy doing, and then you're practicing English at the same time, it doesn't necessarily feel like a chore or something you may not necessarily want to do, like a classroom type activity. It's just something that you do, and it happens to be in English. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you very much, and good luck with your English studies. Hope to hear from you later. Take care. Bye.
Lesson Jigsaw. Please subscribe, like, and comment.